Welcome back to YellowCard Vanguard. I'm your host, Toku, from It's Toku TV on Twitch. It has been a long while, and Clan Collection 5 and 6 have already been out for quite some time, but I figured this is going to be a mainstay of the channel, so I've taken some time out of my failing job search to give you, the viewers, what you want. My based, red-pilled, and Replica takes on the new cards and supports for Clan Collections 5 and 6. Once again, we need to preface the video as well as the rest of the series by letting you know that these lists are made at face value using my skills of card evaluation. They will need playtesting to fine-tune, but I hope they will serve as a good reference point for filthy net deckers to piggyback off of. Welcome back to Clan Collection Cores. Something fossil dig, something broke my leg. Operate fast, dinosaur bone, average Joe, dino DNA. Alright, so you guys from the last two clan collections should know the speech by heart now, but once again, we are back on Tachikaze's. We are revisiting Ancient Dragons, and Spinodriver definitely did positive things for Tachikaze since his introduction in the first wave of clan collection. Let's see if the reverse version is enough to push it further. So here's the reverse version. Eradicator, Ancient Dragon, Spinodriver, Reverse. When placed on the Vanguard circle, perform the following. Draw one and call one from hand, then you may equip a gauge from the top deck. But if the original Spinodriver is in soul, perform this 3 times instead. Then, an axe skill. Once per turn, if you're at 4 or more damage, counterblast 1 and lock a 2 rearguards with the gauges. And this turn, when you drive check a front trigger, all of your Ancient Dragons gain a crit. I don't know what the fascination designers are having with this mandatory draw and call is all about. It's not good, it's restrictive, and it relies on you already having good cards in hand to want to call. Yes, while you do have Spino in soul, the break ride becomes very good being able to fill your front row. But in order to get good calls from this effect, you would have needed to not get your teeth kicked in the turn prior to keep good calls in hand, or be an absolute god and rip Ancient Dragons off the top. Yes, it's effectively a +3, but the quality is not there. But it's still a +3. The second effect screams mistake. You need to lock a gauge to rear guards to get the effect, but you only give Ancient Dragons a crit? Ancient Dragons do not need equip gauges to be optimally played, so it's just a clashing ideology of effects. If it wasn't locked to locking gauged units or locked to crit buffing only Ancient Dragons, there would be something here. On to the next. Ancient Dragon, a Tyranno Legend. When placed on Vanguard circle or by the ability of an Ancient Dragon onto the rearguard circle, this unit gets a 10k and a drive +1. Then you can discard a card to stack a front trigger. On the Vanguard or the rearguard, at the end of the battle that this unit attacked, you can counterblast 1, retire a rearguard to draw a card. Finally, once per turn on the rearguard circle, when you drive check a trigger, you could optionally equip gauge this unit. Despite only having one real line of text in the first ability, it's a really good line of text. To remind, a lot of the true Ancient Dragons gained a crit when you hit a front trigger, so being able to force this for the cost of any card in hand is pretty good, I would say. Especially in conjunction with how quickly Spinodriver can accelerate your axle markers, that discard 1 can effectively become +50k to the front row and crits where they happen. I think that's a good trade-off. As for the other two effects, I think they are pretty negligible. Counterblast 1, retire 1 to draw after attack, has repercussions when you're forced to ride him. And as stated before, Ancient Dragons don't really care for equipped gauges, and this is not a unit you would want to be locked for Spino Reverse anyways. Finally, the new Grade 1. Ancient Dragon, the Baby Rex, let's go! When this unit with an equipped gauge is retired from the rearguard circle, by the ability of an Ancient Dragon, a Soul Blast 1 and bind this card to search your deck for up to 1 Grade 3 card and call it to rear. Then, once per turn, when you drive check a trigger, you can gauge this unit. Honestly, it's kind of medium. I think it's obviously used to cheat out Tyranno Legend to get the front stack, but needing to be gauged first to get this effect is a turn too slow or an attack too slow. You'd probably get max value out of Tyranno Legend by calling it from hand from Spinodriver. Here's a list showing off the new cards, very focused on Spinodriver as your main Vanguard. Now, though we play front triggers to abuse the extra crit the true Ancient Dragons get, to be completely honest, most of the true Ancient Dragons suck, but I think Tyranno Legend's front stack makes playing the good true Ancient Dragons worth it. The fundamental turn of this deck comes on turn 4 when you break ride Spino over Spino. Aim to fill up your front row with true Ancient Dragons, then when you attack with Spinodriver, that's when you call Tyranno Legend from hand to stack the front trigger. At this point, you should have 45 axial circles depending on your open counterblast, and that front trigger should get big value. Let's break down the list some more. So there's two half decks that we matched together to make this deck. The first part is the True and Ancient Dragons. 4 Spinodrivers is our Vanguard to be, and 3 Tyranno Legends for the front trigger stack that we look to close games with. I argue that 3 is a fine amount to run for this deck because of the amount of draw engine we have off of the Axel, we should be okay. We also run 2 copies of Spinodriver Reverse out of obligation to the Spirit of Clan Collection course to include all the new cards, but in reality, I hate this card and these 2 slots should go to True Ancient Dragon Barrel Taps as another good front row crit True Ancient Dragon. The grade 2 True Ancient Dragon we run is Heft Sterako. When on an Axel, it cannot be retired by effects and gains a permanent 5k, and as per True Ancient Dragon style, gains a crit when you drive check a front. And the grade 1 Ancients that we run are 4 copies of Terra Feed and 2 copies of Baby Rex. Terra Feed is actually fantastic in this deck. Despite our deck not being majorly Ancient Dragons, Terra Feed not only provides more AD names on board, but it can also provide food for Spinodrivers so that we can keep key pieces such as Tyranno Legend in hand. The other half of the deck is the Tachikaze Good Stuff package. 4 blue, 4 red, and 4 Mega Rex and 2 Lacerate. Even when playing a more focused deck on a namesake, if you're not playing Mega Rex blue and red, you're probably trolling. This is the one tool that Tachis has access to that makes them faster than other decks in the grades 1 and 2 stage of the game, so you should abuse it. Blue and red especially have good use cases for being able to immediately gauge Baby Rex mid-battle phase, so that if you don't have a Tyranno Legend in hand, attacking with Spino and retiring the now gauged Baby Rex gets you the missing Tyranno Legend anyways. These are also the best turkeys to retire off of Spino as well, to cheat out some True Ancient Dragons off of these, and you can go Poggy Woggies. As for triggers, fronts. Period. Heal Guardians are also a good choice because of the RNG aspect of calling from blue and red, but also because your fundamental turn is on turn 4, so you want to be able to coast from grade 0 to 3 until you can gather the counterblast needed to double Spino. As for other options to run, yes, you could go the obvious route and go full Ancient Dragons and you won't hate yourself. Well, maybe just a bit because your grade 2 turn will probably feel slow. Yes, even Aloneros, despite being a counterblast 1+1 to board, it's only Ancient Dragons and our list isn't saturated with them, so I've cut it. The other 2 in Dino Crowd doesn't synergize with the deck's plan either, so it was cut, giving us the larger Good Stuff package in Red, Blue, and Mega Rex. In lieu of the Good Stuff package, you could roll the High Roll package, which pushes your opponent to lethal very quickly in Savage Shooter and Savage Mercenary. Shooter being able to also gauge Baby Rex pre-battle phase can also help set up your Tyranno Legends. My only regret is that I wish Tyranno Legend and maybe even Spino Reverse had the True Ancient Dragon text on them to gain that crit instead. Regardless, I'm happy for Tyranno Legend's existence to make a more pure version of Ancient Dragons playable, but it's still just a bit miffed that we're still depending on the hard work of Blue, Red, and Mega Rex to make any dent in the game. In any case, that's it from me for this episode of Clan Collection Cores. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this and leave a comment down below because every little bit helps the channel. This has been Toku from YellowCard Vanguard. Toku out.